One fact tuning into today's video, doing the 22nd Christmas update. We haven't got many more to go now. We're within 10 days of Christmas, so there'll only be probably about 4 more updates, I think, until we get to Christmas Eve. And then I'll do the week ahead forecast for the whole of Christmas week on Christmas Eve. But not going to be many more updates. And the general idea, the general storyline throughout all of these updates, we started off using the experimental CFS model, and then recently we started using the GFS model as it's come within the time frame of the GFS. The storyline has generally been for a mild Christmas, although we did go through a phase with the CFS a couple of weeks ago where it started churning out some really quite cold runs for Christmas, but they always looked dubious, particularly in terms of a pattern that was already setting up really for the end of November and the start of December when we was getting those charts coming through. They always looked a bit suspect, and well, through the GFS model we have reverted to this idea of a very Atlantic driven sort of Christmas. Now, the very last update I did on Friday, the idea was that we was bringing some very cold air on a westerly wind out of North America and Canada and stretching it right the way across the Atlantic into Europe. Very, very unusual pattern that one was, and you'll not be surprised to know that the model has completely dropped that idea, and we're back to a much sort of milder type Christmas for today's update. That was a very strange idea, taking the cold air from North America and bringing it right way through the Atlantic into Europe. That really doesn't happen very often at all, and if it does happen it tends to be later in the winter, actually in February and March. It's very unusual to see that in December. Anyway, before I get on with the Christmas forecast, I'll just do the announcements I have to do at the start of every video. So first of all, there's video ads on my page at GazWebVids.com. If you press play on video ads, you'll be supporting GazWebVids.com, and thanks very much for doing that. Gav Shop is open, but it won't be open for much longer. I'll be closing it on Christmas Eve, so if you want to do any Christmas shopping between now and Christmas, you're going to have to get on with it, because Gav Shop will be shutting on Christmas Eve. But thanks so much for all the support you've given Gav Shop doing your Christmas shopping at Amazon. I know you have been doing it, and as I say, if you want to do any shopping between now and Christmas, you can still click through the banners, the Amazon banners in Gav Shop, take you through to Amazon, where you can do your Christmas shopping as normal. GazWebVids gets a royalty fee, but it won't be open for much longer. It'll be shutting on Christmas Eve. So all that done, let's get on with the video. And this is the latest chart from the GFS model for Christmas, for Christmas Eve I should say, first of all. And the idea is that we've got this area of high pressure sitting to the south of the country. Very similar pattern to what we've had throughout December. I've done the video already today saying I think we're in for the mildest December since 1988. There's no sign of a change on tonight's update. So for Christmas Eve, yep, the high pressure's over Spain and Portugal into south of France. Got low pressure to the north. Jet stream is running through, or generally to the north of the country, bringing in this mild west to southwesterly wind. The upper air temperatures show we've got a wedge of very mild air waiting in the Atlantic, spreading across the country. The suggestion is that there could be some rain, particularly in the north and west, probably not too much in the south-southeast, but probably a lot of cloud with that west-southwesterly. And it is mild temperatures in the north, somewhere between around 5 to 7. In the south, we're up to possibly 10 or 11 degrees. 11 degrees is 52 Fahrenheit. If anything, it gets even milder on Christmas Day, with that area of high pressure intensifying over France and Spain and Portugal. You follow the isobars back, they're going right way back to the Azores and probably further back than that to the Canary Islands, so bringing up very mild air out of the mid and tropical Atlantic. The low pressure is pushed north with the jet stream, so the upper air temperatures show that we're in an envelope of very warm air there across the country, or very warm for the time of year anyway. The rain is up in the north, it's across Scotland. Some outbreaks of rain there, mainly dry close to that high pressure across England and Wales, but again there would be a lot of cloud. Although to the east of high ground it could well brighten up and give some sunshine, and very, very mild. Look at these temperatures for Christmas Day, that's suggesting 10, 11, 12 degrees, but to the east of high ground with a bit of third effect, I think you could well be seeing temperatures there lifting up to maybe 13, 14 or even 15 degrees. 15 is getting close to 60 Fahrenheit. That's very, very warm Christmas Day being indicated for this year. And then as we go through to Boxing Day, well, the ridge is still there to the south, but it is starting to weaken from the west as the next Atlantic Belt system tries to push in from the west. But we're still in that wedge of very warm air for one more day, probably clear away for the 27th, but for Boxing Day still very mild. And the rain is up in the north and the west, still mainly dry down in the south and the southeast. Temperatures showing that they edge down just a little bit, but still very mild, still into double figures for most parts of the country. So, well, if you want a cold Christmas, that's as bad as it gets, isn't it? Because it looks like it'll be a very mild Christmas on the basis of that. And all rains up in the north. It's mainly dry actually down in the south and the southeast. Now, this is still chopping and changing a bit. The general pattern, I think we've got it nailed down, which is going to be an Atlantic-driven Christmas. I don't see any way that we can't have a generally Atlantic-driven Christmas. So the general pattern is nailed down, but where the exact wind direction is coming from is critical. Friday's update was bringing a very cold air in from Canada. This one is bringing a very mild air up from the Azores. So obviously we haven't quite nailed down the exact detail on it yet. It may not be as warm as that is suggesting. It may be nearer normal in terms of the temperatures, but certainly nothing particularly cold, wintry showing up. For that we've got to get high pressure in the northern latitude. Absolutely no sign of that whatsoever. So I think an Atlantic driven Christmas, yes. We've still got to nail down the exact detail. Will it be wet, will it be dry, and how mild will it be? So not the news you wanted to hear, I'm sure, but there you go. I can only show you the charts as they're appearing, and that's it for now. We'll do it again on Tuesday. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.